Number one thing I say to people when they want to get into this work and they're interested, I ask them, have you posted your work? And if they say no, then I say, you're not doing yourself any favors. So if you want to get into this line of work, if you want to get noticed by teams and brands and companies, you need to start posting your work. You need to start sharing what you're good at. You need to start sharing what you're creating. So a bit of an impromptu setup here today for this video. We are currently at the airport waiting for a flight, and in order to kill some time, I decided to put the ask out over the last few days for some questions for you guys to do a end of year Q&A video. If you guys aren't familiar with me, my name is Juan. I am a full-time sports content creator currently working for the NHL, and this channel is where I just come on and talk to you guys, give you guys tutorials, tips, and advice on how to become content creators, but also talk about my experiences, show you guys what I'm up to, and give you a bit of a behind the scenes as to what life is like as a full-time sports content creator. Hope your holidays have been going well. Hope you guys have been able to rest, hang out with your families and friends. I definitely got some much needed rest. And now I'm heading on to one of my first work trips for 2023. I know it's still 2022, hopefully by the time this video goes out, but one of my first big work trips of the new year. So excited to get going, excited to start off the new year on the right foot. But without further ado, let's get to your questions because you guys asked a lot of good ones and I want to get to them straight away as an end of year video. First question, really good one to kick off considering where I'm at right now, and that is, where are you off to? So right now I am in the airport heading to Boston for the 2023 NHL Winter Classic, where I'm going to be working as part of NHL Social's on-site team. Going to be taking photos, going to be taking video, creating and producing content on site. Really excited. Never been to a Winter Classic before. I did get to go to the Heritage Classic last year in Hamilton, but obviously the Winter Classic is the NHL's like big marquee New Year's event. So really excited to go and see an event of this size. Two great teams playing, the Boston Bruins and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Players on both teams I've grown up watching and admiring. So like part of like the little kid in me is really excited, but I'm also just excited to get out there and see what an event of this size is like. So that's where I'm off to right now with this work trip. And that was from my friend Sean Addis. Sean, if you're watching this, shout out to you, my guy. Miles Away Photos asks, do you have a shot list in place or do you just shoot everything and skim through? That really depends on the deliverables in my role, depending on, you know, the game I'm shooting or the situation I'm in. So if I'm just shooting the game for coverage and social media content, like without having to produce anything else or create any other specific video, and if I'm just shooting content for social to post later, I don't necessarily have a shot list in place. I just shoot whatever comes my way. I'm a very much like a run and gun kind of guy. So I'll shoot the game, I'll shoot the pregame as it happens. I don't necessarily have anything in place. If something looks good or interesting, I'll capture it. And then after the game, I will typically build a select sequence. You know, I'll build a sequence, dump all my videos in there, and then go through and pull all the best stuff out. And that's just so whenever I need to access it quickly, I can tell where my best shots are in the entire timeline. It is a bit time consuming, but it helps a lot down the line. But if I have a specific project that I'm working on, say a hype video or a feature or something along those lines that require a bit more pre-production, I will have a shot list in place. A lot of my projects with the NHL last year during the Stanley Cup final, I had a hype video series during the finals, and I had a lot of shots specifically I was looking to get, so I did have some planned in place, but it really just depends on what the final product is. Miles also asks, do you record vertical for socials or landscape for YouTube and then crop for social? So when I'm just talking about my own social media content, I record in the ratio that is for that platform. So if I'm shooting for YouTube, I'm always shooting landscape because that's the aspect ratio that the platform is built on, right? So a lot of the time I'm shooting horizontally for these videos, for my tutorials, for my vlogs, and then if I'm putting it on socials, which I do all the time, I will then just crop it vertically. You'll probably see this video down the line on TikTok and just in a vertical format. So just because I'm shooting for the platform, but that also adds up to if I'm creating TikToks or Instagram reels that are just gonna live on my platform, I'm turning my camera around it, I'm shooting vertically because I'm using most of the sensor, retains a lot more quality, and it just generally looks better. And if I'm not really sure where the content's gonna live, like if I want some of it on YouTube and down the line I decide I might want it as a TikTok, the safe way to do it is just to shoot landscape, because at the same time, landscape video isn't going anywhere, right? Like it's been here forever and it's not gonna go anywhere. Downside of shooting vertical videos that it doesn't fit properly on a landscaped, you know, platform. Yes, you can crop in and zoom in onto the vertical video until it fills the frame, but it will look really tight and awkward depending on your framing. So just to play it safe, if I'm not sure where it's gonna live, I'm shooting landscape. If I know 100% it's gonna live on TikTok or reels or any kind of vertical platform, I'm gonna shoot vertical. 88 Drury asks, what are 3 tips you can give for young creatives who are starting to build a brand? Number 1, just experiment. Create different kinds of videos, post them, see what sticks. Literally just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks is like kind of been my mantra for the last however many years I've been building my personal brand. I've posted a lot of different kinds of stuff on my Instagram and TikTok, from my work to these talking head videos to like narrative stuff. Like trying different things allows you to not just figure out what you want to do, but it also allows you to see what your audience like and doesn't like. So especially if you're just starting off, experiment, to try different things and see what works. Number 2, be yourself. Like literally be shamelessly yourself and give off the energy that you would give in the real world. I think social media for the most part is a facade, and a lot of people can tell if you're not being authentic. So I would just genuinely be exactly who you are on social media, through your captions, through any videos you put out, through the content you're sharing. Make sure it reflects who you are as a person in the real world. Don't just put on a face and a voice for the internet. And to that, I'm also gonna add, don't be afraid to put yourself on the internet. Like doing this YouTube thing, doing this TikTok thing has been a really big thing for me in building my brand and building an identity for myself online that people then notice and can recognize. And it's funny because now when I'm approached for gigs or jobs or people reach out, they're like, we love your work, but the fact that we can also see you and hear you talk to the camera is a big thing, because we can gauge who you are right away. And for me, that was a really big thing. Is just like, I'm giving everybody who doesn't know me a peek as to who I am this way. And it's an advantage down the line when someone either wants to hire you or work with you or collaborate with you, because they already have an idea as to who you are. You can give off a really good first impression this way. So be yourself. Don't be someone who you're not, and don't be afraid to put yourself on the internet would be the second tip. Third tip would be, I gotta think about this one. Don't put too much pressure on yourself and just take it day by day. And what I mean by that is building your brand on social media and growing a following isn't gonna happen overnight. Like it's just not. I've been doing this for 3 years and I've seen pretty good growth on my end. But you also see people who blow up overnight, and I think that's the expectation for a lot of people when they get on this platform. They're like, oh my God, I'm just gonna post a few videos and get 1 million followers by the end. It doesn't always work like that. It took me a while to get close to where I am following wise on a lot of my platforms, and I had to tell myself that this is going to be it's a marathon, not a sprint, and it's been that exact thing for the last couple of years. Growth is going to be really slow, and that's okay. I think a lot of it comes down to enjoying the journey and not just aiming for the destination. As cliche as that saying is, it's true. Like for me, the most rewarding part about this is not putting pressure on myself, doing something new every day and meeting people through that, going through experiences with this. It's a lot of fun. So don't put too much pressure on yourself. Like have fun with it. Don't stress if you don't have the numbers of followers that you expected to have after a full year of doing it. This is literally like Rome wasn't built in a day. Like this whole thing is a slow cooking pot. Like enjoy it. Take the time with it and enjoy every single second. And don't beat yourself up if you're not getting the results you expect right away. 514 Edits asks, any advice for someone looking for a computer that can support video? So I am a MacBook user. I'm an Apple user, for better or for worse. I'm in the ecosystem, whatever. You guys can roast me if you're PC users, but I recently started using the M1 MacBook Pro, and the M1 chip is like, this laptop is the most amazing thing I've ever used in terms of like the power it has to edit videos without a problem. I originally had a 2019 MacBook Pro with the Intel chip in it, and I spent a lot of money on that thing, and the M1's released the next year, and I just recently got the M1 Pro, and the difference is night and day for video editors or visual effects designers. Like I can edit the footage from an A7S III, which is a 10-bit 422 codec, without proxies, which is a huge deal, because on my old laptop, I would need to make proxies, which are like lower res files that I can edit the higher res footage with, because there's so much data in it. My original laptop couldn't read it. This new laptop does it seamlessly. No lag on Premiere Pro or After Effects. I can do a lot more than I used to be able to. So if you're willing to buy into the Apple ecosystem, the M1 series of laptops are unbelievable. The M1, it's a game changer. Highly recommend it, especially if you're a video editor, graphic designer, visual effects artist. 100% recommend that laptop. The next question is from a very former special guest of the show, Liz Morrison. Shout out Alyssa of Gators Creative. If you haven't watched the podcast I did with her earlier last week or a few weeks ago, go watch it. One of my favorite podcast episodes to date. She's awesome. Go give her a follow. Currently at the Peach Bowl. Shout out Alyssa, Peach Bowl Creative for college football. Love to see it. But she's asking me, what are my goals for 2023? That's a really good question, because I haven't set any goals yet, but we're going to do that right now. I guess my first goal would be to hold myself accountable more often. As hard as I work, and I know from the outside looking in, it seems like I don't get much sleep and I'm working every day at night, and that's essentially true, but I can be a pretty lazy person sometimes. I can let stuff hang. I procrastinate a lot, and that's not really good for my mental health or my workload. So I think just holding myself accountable and being more consistent and getting stuff done on time and like not just slacking off and letting it hang out too long. I want to stay hungry. I think one of my goals for 2023 is stay hungry. I've made it a long way from where I was a year ago, and like reflecting on it in the last few weeks, like there's been a lot of change in my life, and I think part of me just wants to remind myself in 2023 to stay hungry. Saying I've been saying all year is strive for progress, not perfection. And I think as creatives, we all strive to create the perfect content and to be the perfect content creator. But for me, I want to strive for progress. I want to keep growing. I want to keep improving every single video I make, every single piece of content I produce. A couple of those goals, to sum them up, are, hold myself accountable a bit more, staying consistent and staying hungry and striving for progress. I want to keep seeing growth. Another goal of mine that I can kind of actually quantify is I want to shoot more short documentary, short film work, especially on athletes. That's something that I did early on in my career when I was in school, and I miss doing it a lot. And don't get me wrong, I love doing social media content. I love doing short form, but at the same time, I miss doing longer form storytelling. So definitely want to get back on that horse and create short films and short documentaries on different stories and different athletes who have different things to say. So definitely a goal I want to pursue in the new year. And if you're an athlete watching this and you have a pretty cool story, hit me up. Maybe we can make something worth. Also, another thing is I want to keep growing this community. Another goal for me, just kind of the sports creative community I've kind of been able to build through my own platform, and the sports creative community as a whole I've been able to connect through on social media. So keep growing that community and keep being part of that community and contributing in my own way and connecting with others. 2022 was massive for me in terms of connecting with other people and meeting other creatives. So definitely another goal for me is keep growing that community, keep meeting new people, keep networking, because that's something that you can always invest in and never have any issues with doing that down the line. Zinny Z Coco, and I hope I said that right, asks, how did you create your own style and vision when it comes to your creative work? So I don't necessarily think I have a set style yet. I feel like I have a few things that are like identifiably mine in my work, but a lot of it came with just trying different things and, like I said earlier in this video, throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. I've gone through phases of sticking with one visual style for a long time and then switching it up and liking a few things more than others. Creating your own style and your own brand in your work just comes over time. Making different things, seeing what you like, seeing what your audience or your clients like. But at the end of the day, as long as you're happy with it, you're gonna find your own voice, you're gonna find your own style. It just took me trying different things. And 4 years into my journey, I don't necessarily think I have a set style or look in my work. I think it changes very much, and I like the fact that it changes consistently because I don't want to be a one-trick pony. I want to keep coming up with new and innovative things. I want to keep adapting my skill set to new trends, new situations, new projects. So for example, my videography, I've kind of entrenched myself in I'm a fly on the wall kind of videographer. I shoot things in a documentary style. That just came with a lot of practice. I realized I didn't want to do all these crazy camera movements and gimbal things. I want to just stick to the wall of situations and places I'm filming and just shoot what happens naturally. And that just came through practice and trial and error and doing different things and being on different sets and different projects, and that just came with time and practice. So if you're looking for a way to create your own style, trust me, it'll just come and you'll realize it when it's there. So Anthony Franco Media asks, what is the most valuable thing people look for in a creative? And he's saying he's trying to create for the MLS. So Anthony, the number one skill I tell people all the time is be good at networking. Networking and connecting with other people is such a valuable skill to learn and perfect. At the end of the day, you can be the most talented creative with a camera, with a video editing system, without Photoshop, whatever. But if you're not good at networking and meeting people and letting know people what you're all about and showing them what your value is at face value, you're not going to get anywhere. A lot of the opportunities, if not most of the opportunities I've had in my career up to this point, were kind of found and established through networking. Whether I knew someone who worked at a company or whether I knew someone who worked at a place I wanted to get to. The entire time I've been doing this creative work in sports, it's because I've known someone on the inside and I've been able to network my way in a position that was advantageous. So definitely make sure that you get comfortable with networking, you get comfortable with reaching out to people, DMing. LinkedIn is a really good place to do this. Twitter is a really good place to network, and it's actually where I've gotten a lot of opportunities in the last year, was just through Twitter. So just make sure you're out there talking to people, getting your name out there. If you want to work with somebody, if you want to work with someone like the MLS, you have contacts in there. If you think you can reach out to someone on Twitter or Instagram, just do so. You never know when a DM might land at the right time in someone's inbox and they check it out and they like your work. That's definitely something I would recommend. Don't be afraid to just reach out. That's networking too. The cold DM has worked for me. So don't be afraid to reach out to people, start conversations, and get your name out there and get your identity out there as not just creative, but as a person. This isn't a skill also, but it kind of builds on networking a little bit. but something that's really valuable as a creative in general is just being a good person. You can be the most talented videographer, photographer, creative in the world, and if you're not a nice person, you're just not going to get hired. Make sure you have respect for everyone you come across. Make sure you're nice to everybody. Make sure you develop some kind of relationship every time you meet a new person, because you never know when that person may come back to you down the line and say, hey, there's this opportunity we're looking for someone and we connected really well and we like your work too, and then they'll come to you because of that. So when it comes to networking, always remember to be a nice person, be a genuine human being, and don't burn any bridges. And those two hand in hand will find you a lot of opportunities. I got two different questions that are kind of the same one from Bernie JP Vids and Ebon Visuals. I probably botched your name, so I'm sorry. But they both asked me similar questions. How did you get your position with the NHL, or how did you get the connections to work for the NHL? I can't go into too much detail just because obviously I'm still working there. I don't want to overstep any boundaries or say too much, but I'm going to give you guys a little bit of context so you have an idea. So I ended up finding the position through social media on Twitter. The reason I bring up networking and the importance of that before is because I would have never actually found this specific opportunity on Twitter if it wasn't for several people who I've networked before and I've met over the years sending me this tweet. There are some people that sent me this tweet who I've just known through Twitter and have had conversations with them and never met in person. 3 or 4 people sent me this and says, you would be perfect for this. You need to apply for this position. So a lot of that was through my networking and meeting people and connecting. So that's how I found the position. And then I ended up applying like any other job. I think another thing that I had going for me was I had a portfolio that had a lot of hockey content in it. So when I got hired, when they were going through the interview session, they noticed that a lot of my work in my portfolio was hockey based, and they really liked that. Obviously, you want to create content for the job you want to be hired for. So if you want to work in the NHL, shooting hockey is only going to benefit you. If you want to work in the MLB, shooting baseball is only going to benefit you. And speaking of networking, when I was in the interview process, I also knew someone who worked at the NHL at the time who had a great relationship with. And so it was really easy for me to reach out to that person and be like, hey, I saw this opportunity. I know you work in that department. Is there any way you could put in a good word? We're just going to wait for that to stop. It was really easy for me to reach out and ask like, hey, I know you're working in the NHL social team. They're posting about this position. Do you know anything about it? Could you put in a good word for me, et cetera, et cetera? And because I had this previous connection and a good relationship with this person, I was really able to, get them to put in a good word for me, recommend me, say, hey, Juan's a great guy. This is his work. He just applied. We should, consider him. And so I think that kind of definitely gave me an advantage over other people, is just having someone on the inside. And word of mouth is so powerful for getting opportunities and jobs these days. So when it came to the interview process, it was funny because they knew we were friends already, and it was easy to connect with everyone I was like interviewing with, my bosses and people who I work with now. Having a portfolio, having a good network was exactly how I got the NHL job. From the moment I was sent the position by 3 or 4 people to the process of actually interviewing and showcasing the work I had in my portfolio that was relevant to the job, and then having another connection on the inside kind of facilitating and putting in a good word for me was exactly how I got the job. But to bring it more into a bigger context focus, like I've been doing this for 5 years now, like this whole content thing. If you're just starting off in the sports world, like I'm going to be honest with you guys, like this takes a lot of time to get to, like to find jobs like this and to find opportunities. Like it doesn't happen every day. I grinded for 5 years and put in the work and made a lot of different content in order to make the right connections and the right content for this job opportunity. So if you're looking for a position in professional sports or any high-level sports jobs in the creative world, like you just got to keep working. Your time will come. You will find those opportunities one day, especially if you're putting in the work, especially if you're grinding and improving every single day. Like if you're developing a skill set, that skill set will be noticed one day. So whether that's with the NHL or the NBA or the NFL, MLB, or college football, just putting in the work, connecting with people is the best way of finding these opportunities and getting in these spots. Next question is from Matthew Joseph 2402. How do you get noticed? Also love your work, man. You're an absolute role model. Thank you, Matthew. That means a lot. To answer your question, the easiest way to get noticed is to post your work. Like that is the easiest way for people to find you and see what you're good at and hire you for things and, get noticed. Number one thing I say to people when they want to get into this work and they're interested, I ask them, have you posted your work? And if they say no, then I say, you're not doing yourself any favors. So if you want to get into this line of work, if you want to get noticed by teams and brands and companies, you need to start posting posting your work, you need to start sharing what you're good at. You need to start sharing what you're creating, because at the end of the day, if you're not sharing your work, why is anyone going to take notice of you? So make sure to share your work, make sure to share what you're doing. Kind of all adds up into building a brand on social media, which is really important these days. Like, social media currency is a thing. Like, my Instagram is my work and everything I do, and so it's really easy for someone to find me on Instagram, notice what I do, and then follow me because of it, and maybe reach out. If you want to get noticed, just share your work. Even if it's not your best work, share what you make, because you don't know what particular piece might resonate with somebody, and they might reach out to you for a job, or people might just resonate with you and your work in general and follow you and help you build that brand and a following. And it's not going to happen right away. Like I said earlier in this video, like, it's a slow burn, but believe me, that's the only way it's going to happen, is just by sharing what you do. One of the last questions from Ryan Studo here: moving 12 hours away to do minor league baseball video, and I'm nervous. Any tips? Just enjoy the ride, man. The fact that you're moving away for a job to do this is awesome. Enjoy the process. I know it's really nervous to move somewhere new, and obviously you may not know anyone where you're moving, and it may be a whole unfamiliar situation, but like, enjoy it. I, haven't had the opportunity to move away to do work yet, but the ability to travel, meet new people, meet new experiences, and I'm assuming you're probably around my age or a little younger, just enjoy it, man. Like, don't be nervous. It's okay to be nervous, but believe me, like, everything works out in the way, and you're moving away to do something you love, because not a lot of people can say they're able to do that. So enjoy it, relish it, and I'm sure you'll have a great time. As I was about to wrap this up, one more question came in, and that's coming in from Albie Jr., who, if you guys don't know him, he's the videographer for the Vancouver Canucks. Great dude, met him earlier this year, and he asks, what is your favorite camera for video? And the answer to that is really easy. It's the camera I'm currently shooting on right now, the Sony a7S III. You can also go with the FX3. The sensor is the same. There's obviously differences between the two cameras, but relatively, that, the a7S III, FX3 are my favorite cameras for video right now for so many different reasons. Great quality footage. Like, you can shoot 4K 120, which is what I shoot everything I shoot sports in. Amazing low light. The images I get in almost dark, like pitch black conditions with very little light with this camera are incredible. So great low light, great video quality. I love the color on it. Overall, just a solid camera that I still should really do a review on for video creatives, especially sports, because ever since I got the a7S III, like, it's been a life changer, and every time I use it, I fall in love with it more and more. It just keeps amazing me, the image I get out of this camera. But yeah, that's my favorite camera for video, the Sony a7S III. And that does it for this Q&A video. Thank you to everyone who submitted questions. I really appreciate you, and I hope I provided you guys some value by answering them. I am going to go get a coffee and hang out until my flight leaves. Thank you guys so much for supporting me this year and everything. You guys are incredible, and I couldn't have made it to 2023 on this platform without you guys' support. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys haven't yet, you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like. And if you guys are new here or you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. Full steam ahead with the channel and the content into 2023. Excited to see what this year brings. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.